What is up? What is up, man? We back. Happy Nappy in the building. Hey, man, let me tell you something. We back, Black in the building. A lot of shit going on, a lot of shit to discuss. Man, there's so much shit. I'm glad to be back. Shout out to everybody at the Corporate Plantation. If you was at the Corporate Plantation today, man, much power and respect to you. I'm still reading this. I'm flying through this Tariq Nasheed book. I'm flying through that motherfucker, man. In case you ain't read this book, man, go check out this book. It's called My Grandmother's Hand. Shout out to the homegirl, Erica. Florida in the building, stand up. She put me onto this book, so I read it. It's a pretty good book, man. It talks about racial healing and trauma and, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very, very good book, man. You got to get your reading game up, man. I know I do. Shout out to everybody out there, man, that is making a way out of no way and handling business. I got to send I've really been meaning to do this, man. But so much shit been going on, man. Shout out to my homegirl. I hate to put her name out there, but I want to say my homegirl LaTanya, man. You know what I'm saying? She just recently lost her mom. I spoke to her mom, so that fucked me up, man. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. That fucked me up. Mom's was cool, laughing, joking, cause I sent her some sea moss, which I gotta send her some more. And her, me and her moms had a great conversation. And then she ended up, joining the ancestors. God, bless the dead, and R.I.P. to my homegirl LaTanya's mom, man. It's very, very tough. And we was having a conversation. We're gonna talk about all that today, man. We're gonna talk about better schools. It's bigger racism. We're gonna talk about I see the great white hype. Ben Roethlisberger finally decided to pack it on in, huh? We're gonna talk about a lot of that, man. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about healing and things that we need to do personally. And we're going to talk about the Sambos and Coons, to tell them about the gun lines, the Hayward Shepherds, and Steven from Django's. We're going to talk about a lot of the shit, man, that I feel like we need to discuss in this system of racism, white supremacy. You're not trying to establish a system of justice, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like I said, don't matter who the fuck you date and who the fuck you create. Just make sure you rooted and grounded in them books, man. That's Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics. Very, very good book. Him and Dr. Prince Cresswell sing The ISIS Papers. Very, very good book to read. This book shouldn't even be over here because I ain't even read that book yet. I only have books over here that I read. So yeah, all these books that you see over here in the corner, yes, nigga, I've read them. Go check out World's Great Men of Color by J.A. Rogers. Very, very good book. He also wrote that book, Nature Knows No Color Line. We got to stay up in these books, man. It's very, very, very important that we stay focused on these books. And the reason why, man, because I think it's very imperative that we know exactly what is going on and we know our history. And we're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to touch on that a little bit. But we're going to get into it, man. Shout out to everybody out there that's handling business. Johnny, Tasha, all y'all. If you're at the Court Plantation, hey, man, my most deepest respect goes out to you, because if you're a foundational Black American, and you can go to this Court Plantation and have the mental mindset to just do your job and go home, man, you need to teach a class on that, because I try to teach classes on it. But we're going to get into it right now, man. Oh, shout out to all you finessing ass motherfuckers just running game on motherfuckers. Hey, man, I'm not mad at you. You keep my skills up to par, and you keep other people's skills up to par. We're going to get into it, man. Let's go. Man. Yeah, man, there's been so much going on. You see, motherfuckers mad at Ray J because he was meeting with Donald Trump and all. This is what I don't understand. I had a conversation with a dominant society motherfucker, and he was like, because motherfuckers be assuming because you Black and that you a Democrat. There ain't nothing wrong with that, because Black folk have been raised to be Democrats and been socialized to be Democrats. I do not trip off that type of stuff. A lot of us have not come into the knowledge. And when you start to read and do your research, and you start to see the background on a lot of the shit that was going on in the antebellum periods in the 1700s, and they was doing a lot of sucker shit, man. A lot of sucker shit. They was doing a lot of sucker shit to foundational Black Americans. And when I mean foundational, I mean native. When I mean native, born here. Born here. Generations and generations of Black folk that were born here. And I'm tired of them trying to give you this narrative that, oh no, they brought all the Africans over here. No, that's a motherfucking lie. You got to read They Came Before Columbus by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. He will tell you that we were already here. We just got to know our history. I didn't know that. I just went with the narrative too. Like, oh, you know, they captured us and they brought us here. No, nigga. A lot of us were already here. These so-called Native Americans, that is us. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's so funny how we praise our forefathers, Thomas Jefferson and all them, and George Washington. I'll never tell a lie. But George Washington didn't tell you this, huh? George Washington didn't tell you that he had a slave that broke away from his ass and he was trying to do whatever the fuck he could to get her back. You need to go read this book called Never Caught, The Untold Story of Una Judge. Very, very good book. And they was doing all kinds of shit. And in that book, it talks about how Martha Washington... See, Martha Washington already had bread. See, this is what we have to understand. This is generations and generations of money. So when you get on these corn plantation jobs, don't try to... How you going to compete with people that basically enslaved you, took away your God, took away your everything, your thought, your speech, your communication, everything. And then they gave you what they felt like was the perfection of God and religion and all this other stuff. And then they tell you and made you cultivate and do everything and build the land. And they've been in charge the last 500 years. So don't, you know what I mean? We need to start having a different type of understanding. And when I mean understanding, I'm talking about generational wealth. You know, the average, in my per se, the average foundational black American, they can't just quit their job. They got kids to take care of. They got family and, you know, things that of that nature. And that's because we have been robbed of generational wealth. You like, one man, what the fuck you talking about? What I'm talking about in that book, Never Caught, The Untold Story of Una Judge, it talks about how Martha Washington, who already had bread, owned 17,500 acres of land. Now, let me ask y'all this question. Shawnee, Erica, Tasha, one of y'all, when y'all listen to this, you know, and just leave me the feedback. Hopefully y'all get it. What the fuck are you gonna do with 17,500 acres of land? And how the fuck and who was the motherfucking naysayers who decided, like, okay, we gonna make sure you get, like, who was, what the fuck is that? But we always are the moral compass for them, though. We will become the moral compass when it's in the limelight of dealing with them, but they will never be the moral compass for you. That's why you have to take everything as a lesson well learned and be slow to be emotional and understand you are a victim of racism, white supremacy. When you at this core plantation job, you claim victimhood right away. I know I do. I don't know. They didn't teach me. I don't understand. I'm just trying to learn. It's a lot of information. You know, you claim victim. Don't go on there speaking mad. When you start claiming victim and talking about, you know, human resource, motherfuckers start looking at you different. And that's what you have to do, especially when you're dealing with the system of racism, white supremacy, and not just that, the dominant society. And just a message to my black folks: stop Sambo and cooning at the goddamn job. Stop trying to tell on each other and stop doing that, man. And a lot of times we slow to speak and eager to hear and question everything. Always start a conversation with a question when you're dealing with the dominant society at these core plantation jobs. You know, because a lot of these jobs too, what they like to do is they like to form what is called a digital trail. You know what I mean? That's why everything, you know, that's why you have these email thugs. You know what I mean? They just want to email and talk all crazy, and then you see it. Look, let me tell you something. I've dealt with that. I've had email thugs act all crazy on the job, and then they see you outside the job. Some people run. Some people act like they don't see you because they know, especially if you're not smiling. And then some people are bold enough to try to come up to you. Now, like I said before, and I've spoken about this in the past, I used to hang out in Santa Fe a lot. And I used to see people from the core plantation, and one time a motherfucker walked up on me and I said, "Get the fuck away from me, man. I don't fuck with you, and we not at work. This is my private time, man. So the fuck out my face. Out of my eardrum, clown. Out of my eardrum. You're on the eardrum right now. Out of my eardrum. No, I don't have, because what happens is the dominant society, they're so dominant at these core plantation jobs because that's all they have left, that they feel like they want to go out of their way to remind you of their dominance when you're not even at work. And it's like, wait, hold on, nigga, we're not even at work. What you doing? And we have to understand the difference, and we got to know history. As I'm trying to learn every day, I always tell myself, okay, what am I gonna learn about? When I'm reading this book, I hope I learn something interesting or some interesting facts and things like that in any book that I read, because if you don't know your history, you don't know where the hell you're going. And a lot of us, we are so engulfed in social media. We are so engulfed in the matrix, but it's not real. Your mind makes it real. And we don't understand it a lot of times. And while we in the matrix, the people that created the matrix, the architects of the system, is like, look at these dumbass niggas posting all they shit on fucking internet. Half this shit ain't even real they posting, because they're the architects, so they know what the fuck you got going on. They selling your information as you speak. So you posting all this shit and all, man, Instagram is the motherfucking police. That's the feds. All that shit is the feds. And when I mean the feds, I mean, like, nigga, they don't have no problem looking inside. Okay, yeah, there he is right there. You posting where you at. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with social media, because I like social media. I just feel like we need to understand we do too much arguing and fighting through the media. I was even looking at this beef with Master P and Whack 100. It's like, I don't understand this. We got all this energy for each other, but I don't never see us have this energy for the dominant society. Keep that same energy, is what I'm saying to every single person out there, a part of the system of racism, white supremacy. All this energy we have, why didn't we have this energy with motherfucking Philando Castile's killer? Why didn't we have this energy with Trayvon Martin's killer, who put his gun up for sale and was selling Skittles? Nobody said anything or did anything about that. We just march, whine, and repeat. But when it comes time to talk shit about another nigga's bank account, man, we politicize it. And it's like, as I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, well, what has this got to do with anything that is going on right now that is, in a direct effect to black folk in a positive light? I don't understand that. Us money shaming people. Look, man, we need to understand this. The dominant society owns 90% of the nation's wealth. It's in the hands of the dominant white society. You need to read Black Labor, White Wealth. So as you understand these things, you're going to see, as I gotten older, I'm like, man, it ain't even really, you think, oh, okay, I got this and I got that. And then you really start looking, you like, well, nigga, you ain't really got shit compared to what the fuck these motherfuckers got. And I'm not talking about my own people. I'm talking about the dominant society. I'm talking about all these other racial groups that come here for free for unearned benefits. I don't trip off the ones that come here for free, build a name for themselves, and they're humble. I am talking about the motherfucking Africoons. I'm talking about the coon class from Europe and all these other countries that come here and get unearned benefits. And then when you call them out on it, they be like, oh my God, you're like Donald Trump. No, nigga, you're an immigrant. You're not from here. And I can't just go to Mexico and just go over there and talk shit about a whole bunch of fucking Mexicans and then think that it's gonna be all cool and that I'm gonna move up the ranks and no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But only in the United States of America, we'll deal with that. And that's what brings me to my point. This is my major point. Sometimes better schools don't mean, it may be better education, but that doesn't mean that it's not gonna be bigger racist. It's not like you're not gonna experience bigger racism. See, black folk, a lot of times, I've seen just my perspective. And I don't know a lot, and I don't claim to know shit. But a lot of times you see black folk, and black folk, they go to the better schools, and they get in these better zip codes and all this other stuff. And when they get in these zip codes and, they go to the better schools, the modern days of the world, the Bishop Gormans and all this other stuff, motherfuckers be thinking that the racists will go away. No, nigga. Run, nigga, run. You're here to entertain me. We're not equal. Motherfuckers be thinking that they equal because motherfuckers cheering them on. Nigga, you're not equal. They don't see you as equal. Their parents don't see you as equal because this is social engineering. The dominant society has been socialized like, well, they're niggers and they'll never be equal to what the fuck we got going on. And that's just been taught. And that's why generation and generation, the dominant society has always been in charge. So why the fuck would they feel or view foundational black Americans any different? If anything, I feel that deep down inside they feel inferior because of fear of a black planet. As Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talks about, genetic annihilation. See, we're the only racial group that can make we have the dominant gene. Other racial groups have the recessive gene. So we're the only ones that can make albino and black. That's a fact. But a lot of people don't know that, and I understand that, and a lot of people don't know the history, and they don't want to know the history. That's why I always go to my main books like Medical Apartheid, like a Price for a Pound of Flesh. You had a little bit of Sambo shit in there too, and I get it. Motherfuckers Sambo because they trying to make a living for themselves, and I understand that. But we have to understand, like in this book, A Price for a Pound of Flesh, there was brothers in there helping and kidnapping, basically stealing black bodies from the grave because, white folk wanted to dissect them and do tests and do all, the bullshit that they do. And they didn't want to get caught doing it because they didn't want that shit coming up in. So they pay niggas to do it. And niggas want to fucking make a living, so they gonna do that shit. It's even pictures in this book of the dominant society posing with a dead black body with a black dude next to him standing there all happy that he stole the body. But a lot of times we don't know. We think we making a living because in our mind we're like, well, shit, it's better than me getting lynched. It's better than this happened to me. It's better than that happened. I get it because that's a mindset. But sometimes we have to change that. Which brings me to another subject, which is, I think his name is Mekhi Brown, and his mom's name is Sabrina Little Brown. This young brother going to Laguna Hills High School playing basketball, and there's some suspected white supremacists yelling, unchain him, fucking monkey, and saying all this other shit, and this sister got it on film, on video. You can hear the voice saying it. And then the young brother, I think his name is Mekhi Brown, his dad gets, I had a white coach. And he just was one of the, oh my God, it was just horrible. The motherfucker was like 4 feet tall. He probably wasn't no taller than the little bitty bitch I did the podcast on Tuesday. But he trying to tell us about basketball. But motherfuckers don't know that this motherfucker's parents is clicked in and they got bread. He live in the Glendora Hills and all this other shit, and he got bread. How you gonna relate to me? And this motherfucker, he played with a couple of black people, so no. In my personal opinion, there should be rules and restrictions for coaching black kids. And the reason why I say that, because you can't relate. I don't care about X's and O's. You can't relate to us, period. There is no relation. I'm talking about as far as coaching, especially if you don't understand where a black student, especially a foundational black student, is coming from. A lot of us are coming from poverty mentally and financially. So that's a mindset that has to change. And the dominant society are not looking to change that mindset. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video. And let's see what I can find. Let's see. No way. Let me see.
What's he stepping up in there?
I'm trying to turn it down because it's kind of loud. Let's see if I can find it. You hear him? He's a slave owner. Chain him up. Let me turn this music off so y'all can hear it. I know it's loud, but I want y'all to hear it. He's a slave owner. Chain him up.
You always have the wildest shit, bro.
Oh. Chain him up. Who let him up in chains? Who let him out of his cage? He's a monkey.
Who let him out of his chains? He's a monkey. See, that was taught. That's learned behavior. So somebody taught him that. Where you think these racist jokes come from? That's learned behavior. That's learned behavior. And that's what I just wanted to play y'all so you can hear that. Because that's how they feel. See, motherfuckers be thinking because you got LeBron James and Michael Jordan, all these motherfuckers that, that the dominant society they just in awe with us. No, they not. They're in awe at our athletic abilities. They're in awe at our way of thinking. They're at awe that we've lasted as long as we've lasted. They at awe that we're still the most innovative people in the world. They're at awe that we've created and built a country for free with no repayment. And we're still the most accepting race in the entire United States of America, incorporated. You always hear me say, like, why you always say incorporated? I say incorporated because the United States of America is a business. It's a corporation. It's a Delaware company. It's a Delaware corporation. That's what the fuck it is. That's why I say incorporated. So we have to understand, we don't even understand that specific shit because we so busy fighting and arguing, and it's always something. Change the narrative. Sometimes you gotta step aside to move ahead. Move aside and then move ahead. Motherfuckers wanna carve off their own lane and do whatever. Let them do that. You cannot save everybody, and everybody's not meant to go. And when I mean go, everybody is not meant to be awakened. Some people like to take the blue pill smoothie. And when you're taking the blue pill smoothie, you're just gonna keep going to sleep. So remember that, because just because you go to a better school don't mean you're not gonna be dealing with bigger racism. You're gonna be dealing with bigger races. You're gonna be dealing with the ultimate races now, because these are white people with money. Shit, hell, the white people that don't got money, they racist as a motherfucker. But the motherfuckers with the money, oh shit, they really gonna be looking at you upside your head. If you ain't got no basketball in your hand or baseball or something, they gonna be looking at you upside your head. And these are things that we need to know. That's why motherfuckers stop jumping on LeBron, because LeBron don't say something. Man, look, LeBron is a paid slave, just like you and I. That's why there's a book called $40 Million Slave. Basically, should have called it $40 Million Nigga. That's what it is. That's what it is. You know, like I said, I read this one book called The Wealth Choice. Very, very good book by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. I read that book like 4 or 5 years ago, and the thing that stuck out to me the most was Bob Johnson. He interviewed Bob Johnson, the owner of BET, when Bob Johnson sold BET for $1 billion and started the basketball club, the Charlotte Bobcats. And he said, you know, they get paid. People don't even know the NBA players get paid on the 1st and the 15th like welfare recipients. Oh, you thought they just like kind of like put 200,000 one week? No, nigga, you get paid on the 1st and you get paid on the 15th. That's it. That's some welfare shit. But anyway, Bob Johnson was talking about how, as the owner of the team, he was a black billionaire. Nobody ever, all them black athletes, nobody never came to him and asked him, hey man, you know, what should I invest in? What should I do that? Because it's like I said, it's learned behavior. We're not taught about life insurance and stocks, bonds, and 401k and annuities. And I would just say this: the average person, I'm talking about the average person, even if they have a job, the only life insurance they have is through that job. And I understand that. But the average black folk got insurance on their iPhone. So stop with the bullshit, my nigga. The average nigga got life insurance on their iPhone. So I don't want to hear that shit. So I think that's something that we need to work on, and we need to have a different type of understanding and have some type of financial stability. I was having this conversation with somebody else, and you know, it was a conversation kind of based off, you know, working 1 or 2 or 3 jobs. But it's like at that point, you working 2 jobs, you're trading time for money. So now you got to make your money work for you. Now, if you're going to work the 2 jobs, that second job better be going to stock, bonds, 401k, something that you can draw from in case of emergency, break glass. If you just working 2 jobs to keep your head above water like I used to do, you just trading time for money. So there has to be a mind shift and a change. And I'm mad it took me this long. And I'm super pissed off. I didn't know about life insurance policies and you can leverage your life insurance policy. Like, I didn't know none of that shit. And money market accounts and stocks and bonds and 401k and all. Like, yeah, you know about the 401k because that's what the corporate plantation tells you when you first get on the motherfucking plantation. So that's fine. But you're not really sat down from the generation before you and said, look, don't just save your money, invest your money. Go try to buy you a property. Go try to do something. Nobody really tell us that. And the generation before us, a lot of them, they didn't know. But there are some of us that parents knew, but I think they just felt like, oh, well, that's something I can teach these kids later. And it's like, and then when you grow up and you grown, you like, man, what the fuck is this shit? This is bogus. And I think about it, not even so much the corporate plantation, but I think about it in the terms of this. If more black folk, like I've said before, shout out to No Compromise, that's my brother right there. If more black folk got life insurance policies, I bet you the police wouldn't be killing them. For real. I bet you a motherfucker they won't. Let's say you get your little cousin or somebody a life insurance policy at 15 years old. A 16 years old, like, nah, nigga, I'm about to pay into this shit because there's too much bullshit going on over here. And then let's say a race soldier take his life at 22, 23, 24 years old. Well, guess what? And then the race soldier take another nigga and he got a life insurance policy. Let's just say every single person that we've saw in the last 7-8 years had life insurance policy. I'm talking about Eric Gardner, Alton Sterling, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile. I'm talking about all of them. Just all of them. And I'm talking about $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 policies. Do you think that these insurers would be happy to pay that shit out? They'd be like, man, hey, man, what the fuck are y'all police out there doing? But motherfuckers don't think that way. But now we need to start. So when you look at that nice iPhone you got and that insurance that you pay on that motherfucker every month, because if that motherfucker break, you know you gonna have to check yourself into a mental facility. Then nigga, that money you putting on insurance for your phone, you can reallocate that shit to a life insurance policy. So, because God forbid something happen, now we doing car washes and shit. And that shit is old. But anyway, man, hey, y'all already know what the fuck it is. Hey, man, everybody out there, I got nothing but love for you. You know what it is, you know what it ain't. If a motherfucker out there talking about, oh, well, that's what that kid get for going to a better school. You know the people gonna be racist. You a Sambo coon, tell him about the gun line, Haywood Shepherd, Steven from Django ass nigga, and I do not fuck with you because that is Sambo talk and coon behavior. And you are what I say, guilty nigga. I'm out. Peace.